Alrighty, welcome ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a really quick 5-minute Civil War review PowerPoint. I'm going to be flying through this. Alright, causes of the Civil War. Well, this one can kind of be debated, but this definitely had a contribution to the Civil War, and it's the slavery debate. The Northerners obviously do not want slavery. They're kind of going towards abolishing slavery, while the Southern states, slavery propelled their economy, so they really needed slavery. And every time that a new state was going to be admitted to the Union, okay, because we have all of that western land over here, every time a state was going to be admitted to the Union, the slavery debate came up. So every time the Northern, a free state joined, they had to kind of add a slave state to kind of balance the Senate. Bleeding Kansas. This crazy looking fella here, John Brown, was an abolitionist, and he contributed to Bleeding Kansas. Is essentially this area where Kansas had this idea of popular sovereignty, where the citizens of the state got to decide if it was going to be a slave or a free state. And so there essentially is a bunch of border battles and a bunch of bloodshed between abolitionists and pro-slavery people. Lincoln's inauguration, kind of the last thing that propels the South to secede from the Union, with the dark and lighter reds being the Confederacy and the yellow and blue being part of the Union. The yellow states were slave states that were part of the Union. They were kind of considered the border states. First shots of the Civil War were fired on Fort Sumter. Some statistics about the North and the South. Important events. The Emancipation Proclamation. When thinking about our study of the Reconstruction, the Emancipation Proclamation, tied along with the 13th Amendment that abolishes slavery, really propels our discussion on the freedmen experience for the Reconstruction. Again, it freed slaves, but only under Confederate control, and it really changes the goal of the Civil War to ending slavery. And again, that can be debated. Gettysburg Address is an important event. Lincoln gives it to commemorate a bunch of fallen soldiers. Here's the actual speech. Sherman's March to the Sea. This is big in our discussion of the Reconstruction because it talks about how the infrastructure, the physical tolls of the war need to be repaired, need to be reconstructed. Sherman's March to the Sea was General Sherman, a Union general, goes from Atlanta to Savannah, Georgia, and then up towards Virginia, essentially destroying everything in his path. And here's the surrender at Appomattox, officially ending the Civil War. In 1865, right after his second inauguration, Lincoln is assassinated at Ford's Theater by John Wilkes Booth. Eerie similarities between President Kennedy's assassination and President Lincoln's assassination. I'm not trying to spread a conspiracy or anything like that. This is just somebody with a lot of free time on their hands noticed all of these similarities. Maybe a little eerie, but again, all they are just coincidences. There's absolutely nothing to draw conclusions from about this. Just eerie similarities. Kind of interesting though. Civil War is over. Now what? This is going to lead us into our discussion of the Reconstruction. Huge questions we have to answer. What are we going to do with these former slaves? Okay, these people that grew up in slavery, they've never been free, they've never been off the plantation really. What do they do? Do we help them? Do we just let them go? Confederate states and soldiers. Okay, these are people that we were fighting against. We were just shooting at a year ago. Now we have to unite under one flag. How are we going to do that? How are they going to be readmitted into the Union? Are we going to trust them? What do we do with them? And then talking about General Sherman, the infrastructure. Okay, we just went through a country that got a war that absolutely tore apart our country. What are we going to do? How are we going to fix it? Those are kind of the 4 questions that we're going to be studying the Reconstruction. Thank you very much. Make it a great day.